Hey guys, it's Michael Kummer, and in today's video I want to tell you everything you need to know about blue light blocking glasses. I want to tell you how light impacts your body and in particular the circadian rhythm. I want to tell you about the different types of blue light blocking glasses, different types of lenses like clear lenses, like tinted lenses, and I want to tell you why most of the blue light blocking glasses that you can find on Amazon don't really work, and why, for instance, high quality glasses like the ones from BLUblox that I've been wearing for the past few weeks actually work. But before we get started, I want to thank Rise for sponsoring this video. Rise shows you how to reduce your sleep debt by improving your sleep habits. And it also shows you how your personal energy rises and dips throughout the day. So it basically gives you insight into your circadian rhythm. I use the Rise app to find out when my energy is the highest throughout the day and when it's the lowest, so I can kind of plan my day accordingly with physical activity and other things. I also use the Rise app to notify me when it's time to put on my blue light blocking glasses so I can't forget. Now, Rise comes with a 7-day free trial, but if you use the link below in the description, you can get a 40% discount on your annual subscription with Rise. Before we jump into the science behind blue light blocking glasses, let's talk about light real quick to make sure we have a good understanding of how light works and how it impacts our bodies. Now, light's an electromagnetic wave at the end of the day, and there are different frequencies of electromagnetic waves in nature, and you can represent them on a spectrum, anywhere from gamma rays on the one side all the way up to AM radio frequencies on the other side, and somewhere in the middle is the visible light spectrum that's kind of wedged in between all the electromagnetic frequencies that occur in nature. And if you paid attention during physics class, then you probably know that waves can carry energy. And so light, which is part matter, part wave, also carries energy. And the amount of energy that light can carry depends on the wavelength, so on the frequency basically. And visible light is in the ranges from around 380 nanometers all the way up to 780 nanometers. So those are the near ultraviolet to near infrared type of frequencies. And so at the very left, so to say, of the spectrum, with the lowest frequency of the visible light, we have our obviously the violets, the blues, the greens, etc., all the way up to near infrared. Now, what's important to understand is that humans and our ancestors have evolved with being exposed to those frequencies of visible light from the sun, for example. So throughout evolution, humans have been exposed to all the frequencies of the visible spectrum. The other thing that you should know is that every cell in our body has a biological clock that influences the cell's operation. That's called the circadian rhythm. So every cell in our body follows a circadian rhythm. And that circadian rhythm is influenced by light. Mostly by the light that you can see. So basically the light that gets through your eyes into your body, gets translated into chemical signals, etc., and then reaches the cells in our body. What's important to understand is that between sunrise and sunset, there are certain frequencies of light that we are used to being exposed, and that obviously includes all the greens and the blues, so everything that you would get from sunlight. But once the sun sets, there are certain frequencies that don't naturally occur. So you will not find those frequencies in nature. And that in particular includes the greens and the blues in the ranges of about 400 to 550 nanometers. In other words, our bodies are not accustomed to and haven't evolved with being exposed to frequencies that don't naturally occur after sunset. However, given our modern life, the lights that I'm exposed to right now, or the lights from your phone or from the TV or whatever other electronic devices or light bulbs you might have in your house, any source of artificial light basically produces those greens and blues that don't occur in nature after sunset. However, we continue exposing ourselves to those frequencies after sunset. Now you might ask, so how does light exactly impact our bodies and our circadian rhythm? Well, it does it by influencing the release of certain hormones. And so in the morning, there are a set of hormones like cortisol maybe, to a degree maybe insulin and others that rise naturally in the morning. And one of the factors that makes them do that is blue lights or certain frequencies that you would get from the sun by exposing yourself to the sun. So as the sun rises, that influences certain chemical processes and the release of certain hormones in our body. In the evening, something similar happens, but with other types of hormones. For instance, melatonin gets released in the evening as you get closer to bedtime. And if you keep exposing your body to frequencies of light that aren't supposed to be occurring during that time of the day, then you impact your release of those hormones by either delaying it or reducing the amount of those hormones that your body can produce. The bottom line is, if you expose yourself to blue and greens in the evening after sunset, you negatively impact your melatonin release, and that impacts how sleepy you get, how quickly you can fall asleep, and how deep you sleep, because deep sleep typically occurs in the first half of the night, as opposed to a REM sleep that traditionally occurs in the second half of the night. So all of these factors basically make the case for using blue light blocking glasses after sunset to protect your melatonin release mechanism. So you can sleep well and get high quality sleep, you can fall asleep quickly, and wake up refreshed and energized in the morning. Now what's interesting is that sleep is a natural process that our ancestors and humans have done for millions of years, and they've done it well. Sleeping should not be a struggle. Sleeping should be very easy. However, based on studies that I've seen, up to 30% of the population have troubles either falling asleep or staying asleep. And that is crazy, considering that sleep is such a normal process. And one of the reasons for why so many people have issues sleeping and sleeping well is because of their disturbed circadian rhythm. And again, one of those factors is exposure to certain frequencies of light at times when they would not naturally occur. I almost forgot to take off these. I was about to film the whole video during the day with those blue light blockers on, and that's obviously not a good thing, because there are different types of blue light blocking glasses, and one of them is has tinted lenses, like either a yellow tint or a red-orange tint, and all of these serve a specific purpose, and it doesn't make sense to simply, slap them on and wear them whenever or whenever. There is a specific time and use case for those different types of lenses. So let's talk real quick about the different types of blue light blocking glasses that you might find. The first ones that I got a couple of months ago from Amazon, this is actually my wife's, they have clear lenses, as you can see. And I figured, not knowing anything about blue light blocking glasses, I'm gonna get the ones with clear lenses because they are most comfortable to look through, because there is no color distortion or anything. And so we figured, let's get my wife, me, and my kids those clear lenses, and we wear them after sunset. They didn't do anything. They didn't work at all, and we were like, well, maybe blue light blockers don't really work. Maybe all the hype is is for nothing. Later I found out that there are different types. There are clear lenses, as I said before, yellow tinted and orange or red tinted ones, and they each serve a different purpose. These are also known as computer glasses, and as the name already implies, you can wear them while working on a computer. So if you are sensitive to light, if you are maybe exposed to a lot of artificial sources of light throughout the day, be it the computer screen, be it fluorescent lighting in your office or whatever, and you don't have any natural light coming into your place of work or wherever you spend most of the time during the day, then these might actually help to reduce eye strain or eye fatigue, or itchy eyes or watery eyes. So that's the use case and the purpose of those computer glasses with clear lenses. They filter out certain frequencies of blue lights, but not the whole spectrum. The next example are yellow tinted glasses. I don't have them because they are typically meant for either gamers, so people who play a lot of video games at night, where red would be distracting and would provide too much color distortion. So yellow ones are a good option. They filter out a little bit more of those harmful frequencies, but not all of it. And then the last one are the ones that you're supposed to wear after sunset. So those are the ones that filter out all of the harmful frequencies, everything between the 400 and 500 nanometer spectrum, to protect your melatonin release process. So wearing clear lenses after sunset is not going to work. It's not going to help you. Wearing these during the day is not a good idea either, because during the day you want to get all of those frequencies because they naturally occur. You get them from the sun basically, and you don't want to block all of that stuff out. That's counterproductive. So you only want to wear these ones after sunset, once the sun is gone basically. Now, as I've mentioned before, a couple of months ago, I bought 4 pairs of computer glasses for the whole family. We wore them and they didn't really work. And then a couple of weeks ago, I discovered BLUblox. It's an Australian company that makes high quality blue light blocking glasses. They have different types. They have the clear, the yellow tinted and the orange red tinted lenses. And the difference between these high quality glasses and the ones you can find on Amazon is that the BLUblox, especially the Sleep Plus as they call them, those are the orange red tinted ones, they block out all the harmful frequencies. So everything from 400 to 550 nanometers, these lenses block. And they're super comfortable. They are made from a special type of plastic that is lightweight yet super sturdy, and they feel premium. I mean, when I took them out of their case, I'm like, wow, this is a significant difference to these guys here. They were like, cheapos. You can tell by just holding them. The ones from BLUblox, they are high quality. They are super comfortable. They feel, very comfortable on the nose and here with the ears. And I really like them. And I've been wearing them religiously for the past several weeks. And what I've noticed is that I would get really, really sleepy as my bedtime approaches. So before, to get to that state of sleepiness, if you will, I had to supplement with melatonin. And melatonin is a hormone that you can supplement with, but it's really only a good idea to do that when you're traveling. When you wanna, change your circadian rhythm, maybe because of a change of time zone or whatever the case might be, or maybe you're a shift worker. But the problem with any hormone that you take, any exogenous hormone, so to say, it impacts how much of that same hormone the body makes on its own. So whenever you supplement with melatonin, your body actually makes a little bit less or none at all, depending on how much you take and how long you take melatonin. So that's why I stopped supplementing with melatonin a while ago. And I've noticed that wearing these glasses makes me almost as sleepy as supplementing with melatonin. And one of the consequences of being so sleepy when my bedtime approaches is that I fall asleep really quick. And then I get a lot of deep sleep. So typically, if I look at my Whoop data, the Whoop strap I use to track my sleep, I get about 40% of deep and REM sleep combined. So 40% of the time that I spend asleep is in deep and in REM sleep. Those are the restorative phases of sleep. And I've noticed a difference. I do a lot of things, in terms of improving my sleep. I sleep on a temperature-controlled mattress from 8 Sleep. I use these blue light blockers, etc. I try not to eat close to bedtime, but all of those measures combined have really helped me improve my sleep. And specifically with the blue light blocking glasses, I've noticed that I get super sleepy and I fall asleep really quick. And I like that because there's nothing worse than lying in bed and your head starts spinning and you can't fall asleep even though you want to. The other thing we should talk about is pricing. Now, these glasses are not cheap, especially in comparison to those Chinese made ones you find on Amazon. So for these, you have to pay somewhere between 90 to 150 US dollars. There are more expensive options if you need like prescription type glasses, or magnifying options if you have trouble, like reading, etc., because your eyes have gone bad already. There are more expensive options you can get from BLUblox, but the ones that you would typically, depending on the model, they would typically pick are between 90 to 150 bucks. Not cheap, but I think totally worth it because A, they work, they block the right frequencies of blue and green light. Most other brands don't. And I expect them to last a very long time. So there is a clear return on my investment. Now, I do have a discount code. If you want to give them a try, it's MK15 to get 15% off. I'm going to put all of that in the description. But the bottom line really is they're a little bit more expensive than some of the Chinese knockoffs, but they're definitely worth it in my opinion because they work and because of the quality of materials that BLUblox uses. Now let's talk about some of the frequently asked questions that I've heard around blue light blocking glasses. And the first question is a very basic one, and I hope I answered it already. Do blue light blocking glasses work? And yes, they absolutely do work if they filter the right frequencies of green and blue light. Most don't, and that's why I also had the impression that those blue light blockers simply don't work. But if you get the right pair that has the right lenses to filter out the right frequencies, they absolutely work. And by work, I mean, it depends on what you want to use them for. Do you want to use them to reduce your eye strain? In which case, computer glasses with clear lenses might be the way to go. If you want to use them to reduce your eye strain while playing video games at night, maybe the yellow tinted lenses are the ones for you. Or if you suffer from, anxiety or depression or any other severe light sensitivities, maybe the yellow glasses during the day might help you relieve those symptoms or manage them better. And then to fall asleep quicker, to sleep better, definitely they call it Sleep Plus. Those are the Hudson Sleep Plus. Hudson is the style and the Sleep Plus is the orange ones with the orange lenses basically. They absolutely work. They make you sleepy, they make you fall asleep quicker, and they will improve your sleep, especially during the first half of the night. That's when melatonin is active typically. It doesn't stay in the body for very long, so it fades off in the second half of the night, but definitely you will get more deep sleep by wearing those glasses. The second question I often get is, should I wear them, blue light blocking glasses, during the day? And I kind of answered that already in the previous answer, but don't wear orange lenses during the day. Don't filter out all of the blue and greens during the day because you want to be exposed to those frequencies for your body and your circadian rhythm to operate properly. So I put them on after sunset, and there is what's called a melatonin window. And I use the Rise app to remind me when my melatonin window, based on my circadian rhythm, which might be different for you depending on when you go to sleep and when you wake up in the morning, I use the Rise app to remind me when my melatonin window starts so I can put on the blue light blocking glasses not too soon and not too late. Another very good question is, well, I use dark mode or night shift on my iPhone or Mac or whatever. Does that work? Is that enough to filter out all the blues? And unfortunately the answer is no. While those software features help remove some of the blue light frequencies, they don't take out or remove enough to make a difference in terms of the impact on your melatonin levels. So just having your phone in night mode or dark mode, I think it's called on iOS, is not going to make a difference because there is still a lot of blue light frequencies and green lights coming from that screen. The same goes with e-ink readers like a Amazon Kindle. Some people ask, well, I don't really see any color and stuff. Does that mean there is no blue light? No, the backlighting unfortunately produces blue lights and you still get exposed. So those modes and features, they can help during the day. So I have my Mac, for instance, set up to turn on night shift at 5 in the morning and turn it off at 7 p.m. So during the day when I'm working in front of my Mac, I get less exposure to those blue lights because I have a lot of sunlight coming in from my window. And so that might help reduce eye strain, but it's not enough for the night. You need blue light blocking glasses that filter out all of those harmful frequencies. And a related question to that is, well, what can I do on my phone to really remove all the blues? And you can turn your phone screen red. And I'm gonna link below in the description a blog post that I wrote recently. It's actually the review of these lenses, and gives you all the information again about blue lights and all of that stuff that I mentioned in this video. There are step-by-step instructions that tell you how you can turn your iPhone screen red, and that really removes all of the blues by applying a red filter. And then, you know, your screen would look very red, but that's an option if you don't have those glasses yet, or if you're traveling and you didn't bring your glasses, so you can reduce your exposure from blue light coming from your phone screen. Another good question is, how about if I wear these glasses, you know, there is still peripheral light coming in from the sides, and you know, some people may even think that that light can reflect, you know, on the inside, from the inside of those lenses, and go back into your eyes. And is that gonna be a problem? You know, should I get glasses that, like, you know, cover everything here to prevent any peripheral light from coming in? And the short answer is no. There are no reflections, at least with these glasses. Those frequencies that are harmful don't get reflected from the inside of the lens, and any peripheral light that might sneak in from the sides is not enough to trigger the same response in your eye and to impair your melatonin release. So that's not a problem. That was one of the first questions actually I had when I started wearing these glasses, and I'm like, you know, I still see, you know, light coming in, but no, this is not a problem. If you already own blue light blocking glasses and you want to find out if they truly work, I'm also going to link below a way to test your blue light blockers, and I'm going to show here in the video the difference between these two glasses and how they filter out blue light. And you can see in that test, and also using the link below, how these don't filter out the blues at all, while these absolutely do. So this is an easy test, not a perfect test, because if you really want to find out what frequencies go through, you need a spectrometer. You likely don't have access to that. And so, you know, using the color wheel, or, you know, the different colors here, you can easily test that at home. That's not perfect, but good enough to find out if your blue light blockers are actually working and doing their job, or if they don't do anything. And with that, we're gonna wrap it up. So the two key takeaways is, you want to expose yourself to blue light, and I don't necessarily mean from artificial sources of light. So don't take your fluorescent office lighting as a great source of blue light. I mean sunlight. Expose yourself to all of these frequencies that occur in nature, in particular sunlight, during the day between sunrise and sunset, and reduce your exposure significantly after sunset by either turning off lights, by taping off all of the, you know, status LEDs that, you know, you get with all the electronics and light switches, etc. We've done that in our bedroom, so I want our bedroom to be completely dark, and so we taped everything off that we could. But after sunset, put on blue light blocking glasses, reduce your exposure significantly, and see how that changes the quality of your sleep and your ability to fall asleep quickly and hopefully stay asleep. And with that said, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, leave me a comment of what I could have done better. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click on the little alert button so you get notified when I publish more videos like this. I'll see you next time.